Look closely at someone's eyes. Not the emotion, not the expression, the color. Because that color is not just a cosmetic detail. It is a biological record. More than 70% of people on Earth have brown eyes. But the remaining percentage carries something far more unusual, rare genetic variations that appeared only recently in human history. And those variations tell an incredible story. A story about migration, about sunlight, about survival. For most of human existence, eye color wasn't about beauty or identity. It was about protection. And the pigment inside your iris once determined how well your ancestors could survive under the sun. When you look in the mirror, you're not just seeing a color. You're seeing the result of thousands of years of human adaptation. For nearly all of early human history, everyone shared the same eye color. Brown. Not by coincidence, but by necessity. The deep brown color of the iris comes from melanin, a pigment that plays a powerful protective role throughout the body. In the skin, melanin shields cells from ultraviolet radiation. In the eye, it performs a similar function. Melanin absorbs incoming light before it can scatter inside the eye. In fact, darker irises can absorb up to 90% of visible light entering the eye. That absorption reduces glare and protects delicate retinal cells from ultraviolet damage. For early humans living under the intense sunlight of equatorial Africa, this protection was essential. The open savannas exposed the eyes to extreme brightness every day. Without adequate pigmentation, prolonged UV exposure could damage the tissues responsible for vision. Brown eyes functioned like a natural pair of sunglasses built directly into the iris. They filtered harsh light, stabilized vision, and protected the genetic material inside eye cells. That advantage explains why brown eyes became the dominant eye color across most of the world. Even today, populations living closer to the equator overwhelmingly share darker eye pigmentation. But something unexpected happened thousands of years ago. A tiny genetic change appeared in the human population, and that change would eventually reshape the colors of human eyes. Around 6,000 to 10,000 years ago, somewhere near the region surrounding the Black Sea, a mutation appeared in a gene that regulates eye pigmentation. The genes involved are known as HERC2 and OCA2. Together, they control how much melanin is produced in the iris. The mutation didn't add a new pigment. Instead, it did something more unusual. It reduced melanin production. The result was an iris with very little pigment at all. And something fascinating happens when melanin disappears. Light entering the eye begins to scatter. Shorter blue wavelengths reflect outward while longer wavelengths pass through deeper structures of the eye. This optical phenomenon, known as Rayleigh scattering, is the same effect that makes the sky appear blue. In other words, blue eyes are not actually blue because of pigment. They appear blue because of the way light interacts with the nearly pigment-free iris. Genetic studies suggest that nearly all people with blue eyes today may share a common ancestor who carried this mutation. Before that moment in history, every human likely had brown eyes. But what scientists still debate is why this mutation spread so quickly. Within only a few thousand years, blue eyes became extremely common in Northern Europe. One explanation involves light adaptation. In regions with long winters, cloudy skies, and limited sunlight, eyes with less melanin may allow more light to reach the retina. This could slightly improve vision in dim environments. Another theory focuses on something more social. A rare trait can become attractive simply because it is unusual. Blue eyes may have spread rapidly because they stood out, making individuals more noticeable during mate selection. And ancient DNA discoveries have revealed something even more surprising. Some early Europeans had blue eyes paired with dark skin, proving that light eye color evolved independently from lighter skin pigmentation. Eye color evolution was not a simple byproduct of skin color changes. It was its own genetic story. But blue eyes were only the beginning. Once pigmentation pathways began to vary, the human iris started producing an entire spectrum of colors. Between the extremes of dark brown and pale blue lies a wide range of intermediate eye colors. Each one reflects a slightly different balance of pigmentation and light scattering. Take green eyes, for example. They are among the rarest eye colors in the world, found in roughly 2% of the population. Green eyes require a delicate balance. Too much melanin, and the iris becomes brown. Too little, and it becomes blue. Instead, green eyes contain moderate melanin along with a yellowish pigment known as lipochrome. When light interacts with this combination, it produces the distinctive green hue. Then there are hazel eyes, which behave almost like biological chameleons. Rather than having a uniform pigment distribution, hazel eyes contain patches of different pigment densities. Depending on lighting conditions, they may appear green, gold, or brown. The shifting appearance comes from the way light reflects off multiple pigment layers inside the iris. Gray eyes are even rarer. They contain extremely low levels of melanin, causing light to scatter across a broader range of wavelengths. This creates a cool, metallic tone that can shift between silver, slate, and soft blue. And then there are amber eyes, which display a golden or copper tone due to higher concentrations of lipochrome with minimal melanin. Each color reflects a slightly different balance between pigment density and optical physics. But these variations also come with biological trade-offs. Because melanin does more than determine color, it also protects the eye. Melanin is a powerful absorber of light. The darker the iris, the more light it can filter before that light reaches the retina. That means darker eyes generally handle intense sunlight more comfortably. Lighter eyes, on the other hand, allow more light to enter. This can increase sensitivity to glare in bright environments. People with blue or gray eyes often notice stronger reactions to bright sunlight or reflective surfaces. In evolutionary terms, this represents a classic biological trade-off. In bright environments, darker pigmentation offers protection. In dim environments, reduced pigmentation allows more light to reach the retina. Neither trait is universally better. Each reflects adaptation to different conditions. The distribution of eye colors across the planet still mirrors those ancient environmental pressures. Darker eyes dominate regions with intense sunlight. Lighter eyes appear more frequently in northern latitudes with softer, diffused light. But occasionally, genetics produces something even more unusual. In extremely rare cases, the two eyes of a single person may develop different colors. This condition is called heterochromia. It occurs in less than 1% of the population. During early development, melanin-producing cells migrate into the forming iris. If that process becomes uneven, pigment may distribute differently between the two eyes, or even within different regions of the same iris. The result can be striking. One eye may appear blue while the other is brown, or a single iris may contain distinct rings of different colors. Throughout history, heterochromia has often been surrounded by myths and superstition. But biologically, it is simply a variation in how pigment cells develop during early growth. Another reminder that eye color is ultimately controlled by the complex choreography of genes, pigments, and light. Eye color may seem like a simple trait, but inside that small ring of pigment lies a remarkable history. Brown eyes trace back to the earliest humans who survived beneath intense equatorial sunlight. Blue eyes emerged from a single mutation thousands of years ago. Green, hazel, gray, and amber represent delicate variations in the balance between pigmentation and optical physics. Each color carries echoes of migration, environment, and genetic chance. So the next time you look into someone's eyes, remember this. You are not just seeing a color. You are seeing the result of thousands of years of human survival, written inside the iris.